As we gather together, we acknowledge that the land upon which our church and homes exist is the ancestral land stolen from the people of the Shoshone-Bannock, the Shoshone-Paiute, Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai, and Nez Perce nations, along with many other tribes whose names have been lost in history. We acknowledge that our presence here today is founded upon the exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples. With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to the work of dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, a community gathered to nurture spiritual growth, real connection, and faithful action for a better world. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your life's journey, we are really glad to have you with us this morning. I'm always amazed at the miracle of gathering in this congregation. At 3 till 10, there's just a mere scattering of bodies out there. And look at us now. We welcome to those who are joining us virtually. Turn, wave to the camera. We're so glad you are out there reminding us that our community extends beyond these walls. And we know it takes, that's not right. Beyond these walls. Newcomers, we especially glad you are with us today. We know it takes courage to walk into a new place. And so we hope that you will introduce yourself either after the service, maybe go to our hospitality room for some goodies and some coffee. And those of you virtually, if you will check in on the chat, we'd appreciate it. And we can let you know more about what's going on in our fellowship. Our minister, Sarah Lawal, is not in the pulpit today, and I will be conducting things. My name is Patricia Heeb. I have a few announcements to make, we always do, about upcoming events. First, though, I want to thank Kathy Sandstrom and Deborah Smith for taking care of our hospitality room today. They've got coffee made, and there'll be some goodies in there after the service. We invite you all to go through that door and then that door and grab yourself some goodies. Also, this is about September services and events. In honor of Pride Weekend and our September, well, that doesn't even make sense what I'm reading. Okay. Our spiritual theme for the month is community, about community, the practice of encountering others. And in honor of that and in honor of Pride, we will not be holding services in the sanctuary on September 10th. No service here next Sunday. Instead, we invite you to worship with the interfaith communities at Pride at an 8:30 in the morning service in Cecil D. Andrus Park, followed by the Pride Parade at 9:30. You can also help staff our festival booth if you would be interested in such a thing. Then on September 17th, we have our Fall In Gathering, our annual water communion, where you are invited to bring water from your travels or from your sink at home or wherever. And we collect and bless our mingled community waters as a ceremony to honor the community that we are. After the service on that day, we invite you to stay for the Connections Fair, where you can explore all the ways that you can get involved with BOOF and their projects. Also that day, come ready for Picture Day. September 17th, Picture Day, if you want to doll up for that event. Our fellowship donates 25% of our unpledged plate offering to support a local organization whose work in the community aligns with our social justice mission. For the month of September, it is the Bare Roots Collective, serving an often unseen population, young adults with mentorship, educational opportunities, and community resources to support these young adults in their lifelong autonomy, health, wholeness, and connection. So here to share more about their mission and work, we have their founder and executive director, Charity Strong, and a mentee of the collective, Trifine, and we welcome them to the podium now.
Good morning. Good morning. That's right. Thank you so much for having us here today. We're excited to tell you about our mission. Bare Roots Collective was founded on the principle that on the idea that if we could just preserve kids' magic transitioning into adulthood, our world would be a better place. And rather than kind of telling you what we do, I brought Trifine, and she's going to tell you what she's learned over the past couple of years as we've interacted.
Hi guys, this is echoing. Okay, my name is Trifine, and like Charity said, I was a mentee in the mentorship program, and this program is so dear to my heart because I've just learned so much. Charity mentioned losing magic, and we help underseen like communities, and I came to the States as a refugee. I had so many resources, and as I go through high school and junior high, I enter college, those resources disappear, and I'm first generation, and I don't know what to do. There's a lot of fear, and one thing that I've learned throughout my life is that knowledge is power, and I used to be afraid of many things like credit cards. They're scary, so instead of figuring out a way to deal with it, I just wouldn't at all, and through this program, I was able to be paired off with a mentor, and they just guided me with one-on-one. And I just want to talk about some of the things I've been able to do because of this organization. For example, we had a workshop on credit cards and financial literacy and how important that is. And I got enough courage to apply to go abroad, and I got one-on-one help with my applications and my essays. And I've been able to go to Spain and London, and just 2 months ago, I was one of 25 chosen by the Department of State to go to Jordan and see how they handle their refugee crisis. And I say that, I say that today because I would not be where I am without the constant help and support. So I hope you're able to see where that would be going. One-on-one help is so important, and yeah, I'm a product of that, and I've been able to do so much, and yeah, I just want to talk about a little bit of what I've been able to do with Charity's help, and that's kind of our mission, is offering one-on-one help and just keeping people going, and yeah.
Thank you. Trifine is just one of many of our kind of shining stars out in the community. Your support goes towards finding mentors for other folks. There will be volunteer opportunities. If you want to learn more about our organization, it's barerootscollective.org. And we're always looking for mentors and new ways to connect in community. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. You are inspiring. There are many ways that you can make a financial gift in Booth, online on our website, using the Vanco app, or in person using the drop boxes on either side of the entryways. However you give, you nurture this community with your gifts, and we are always grateful. Our spiritual theme of this month is community, the practice of encountering others. Booth has many opportunities for building communities, and one of these is the adult education classes each year. In today's service, we hear reflections from several participants of one of those classes, The Soul of Aging. It's a curriculum that was developed by Parker Palmer's Center for Courage and Renewal, which was introduced to Mike Philley and I when we attended a weekend workshop several years ago. And then since then, we've offered that class 3 times here at Booth, and we're hoping maybe to do it again in the future. This morning, 4 participants from those classes will share their reflections upon aging. But first, we want to address a few of the many cliches about aging. Before we move into the spiritual heart of the service, we offer you this look at the vagaries of growing old.
We are not as young as last time when we met, but we're not as old as we are going to get. We find it's been quite engaging with this full-time job of aging, though we're not as old as someday we will get. Our vocabulary's grown throughout the years, but now we find it's causing us some fears. We are talking eloquently when we find ourselves lamenting, 'cause that word we want just simply disappears. If we still have hair, it's getting pretty gray. Our eyesight's getting dimmer every day. Yes, our knees have gotten creaky and our poor old bladder's leaky. And our hearing, eh?
Nah, now what's that you say?
We are happy that we haven't reached that stage where they take away our car keys due to age. We drive blithely without thinking that our left our blinkers blinking, while the other drivers mutter their outrage. We go looking for our glasses when we've read, 'cause we know we left them right there by the bed. We go searching, we go seeking every corner we are being. Then we pass a mirror right there on our head. When we're working on a project to proceed, we get up to go get something that we need. But the problem that besets us and that really does upset us is forgetting what we came for with such speed. Our calendars are full of dates we've made to address our buddy's medical parade. We have lists of doctors who are smart to cover every body part. They all look like they're still in 7th grade. The test we hate to think is coming near means we have to make our GI tract get clear. Though it quite invades our privacy, we get our colonoscopy. Thankful that
Thank you. And particularly thank you to Mike, who made that work. Now we need to settle down. As we enter into this time of worship, let us take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath, knowing that our breath connects us to our bodies, to each other, and to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity for stillness, to tune into our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-driven stranger. Thou art the wings of joy. Thou art the deep to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet may tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream. Each week, we light our flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We join in this lighting in solidarity with lots of other Unitarian communities, giving us a chance to celebrate the connection that we have to a larger community. As we light the chalice today in the sanctuary, for our virtue community, if you have a chalice nearby, you're invited to light it now with us this morning and then share in the chat where your chalice is lit. Today we have a first-time chalice lighter, Wanda Jennings. Thank you. I guess you'll get your first-time chalice later pin a little bit later. Thank you. With our collective chalices lit in all of our spaces, we offer you this call to worship adapted from William Stafford, The Gift. Time wants to show you a different century. It's the one that your life conceals, the one waiting outside when curtains are drawn, the one grandmother hinted at in her crochet design, the one almost found over at the edge of music after the sermon. Life's a balance, the taking and the passing along, the composting of where you've been, and how people and weather treated you. It's a country where you already are, bringing where you have been. Time offers up this gift in a million ways, turning the world, moving the air, calling every morning. Here, take it, it's yours. Come, let us worship together. As we move into our time for all ages, I'd like to invite the children in the room to come and join us up in front to enjoy today's story with Jem. Here's one. Hi, guys.
When I'm Old with You, by Angela Johnson and illustrator David Solman. When I'm old with you, Granddaddy, I will sit in a big rocking chair beside you and talk about everything. An old dog will sit by my feet and I will swat flies all afternoon. We'll go fishing too, Granddaddy, down by the old pond with the flat rocks all around. We can fish by the pond or take that old canoe out. We'll eat out of a picnic basket all day, and we won't catch any fish, but that's all right, Granddaddy. When I'm old with you, Granddaddy, we will play cards all day underneath that old tree by the road. We'll drink cool water from a jug and wave at all the cars that go by. We'll play cards till the lightning bugs shine in the trees, and we won't mind that we forgot to keep score, Granddaddy. When I'm old with you, Granddaddy, we will open up that old cedar chest and try on all the old clothes that your Granddaddy left you. We can look at the old pictures and try to imagine the people in them. It might make us cry, but that's okay. In the mornings, Granddaddy, we will cook bacon for breakfast, and that's all. We can eat it on the porch, too. In the evening, we can roast corn in a big fire and invite everyone we know to come over and eat it. They'll all dance, play cards, and talk about everything. When I'm old with you, Granddaddy, we can take a trip to the ocean. Have you ever seen the ocean, Granddaddy? We'll walk on the hot sand and throw rocks at the waves. We can wear big hats in the afternoon like everyone else, and we'll sit in the water when the day gets cool. When our trip is over, we will follow the ocean as far as we can, so we'll never forget it. When I'm old with you, Granddaddy, we will get on a tractor and ride through the fields of grass. We'll see the trees in the distance and remember when this field was a forest. We won't be sad, though. Granddaddy, when I'm old with you, we will take long walks and speak to all the people who walk by us. We'll all know them, Granddaddy, and they will know us. At the end of our walk, when we're tired, Granddaddy, I will sit in a big rocking chair beside you.
Thank you, children. You have your playground back there. Thank you, Cambria, for joining us. We appreciate it.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Before we hear from our four speakers today, I'd like to share these thoughts from the introduction to the Soul of Aging materials. Aging presents us with an accelerated curriculum on change and a deep spiritual dive into the paradoxes of loss, transition, and renewal. Consider how we refer to aging as growing older, implying that it involves progress and learning, as well as significant skill. It suggests a natural organic process. The class offered the participants a community experience to explore their relationships with the spiritual, to expand their capacity to love to serve, to forgive themselves and others, and to embrace their own death. We intuit that we can just get old, or we can become elders who have meaningful contributions to make. There are some tough things to encounter in our aging, but if willing to face them, there are also enormous gifts. Our first speaker, sharing her reflections on aging, is one of our original boofers, Barbara Alexander. Way back, when before our beautiful grounds were beautiful, Barbara dug up plants out of her own yard to create, along with Mary Schwartzman, the initial landscaping that we enjoy today. She brought the first bagels to Boise as a small business owner, and she touched many lives as a teacher. Over the years, she's exercised her considerable and well-developed artistic skills as a quilter, a crafter, and a gourd artist. She is an ardent geocacher, an entomologist, and a botanist, and a really good friend to many. Barbara.
Oh, thanks, Patricia. That song was quite amazing. I wasn't ready for that, and when I laugh, I cry, so I brought a tissue up in case I'm laughing. I was asked to share some thoughts on aging, and first of all, it's not too late. One of my daughters and I were talking the other day, and she said she wanted to do something, but it's too late for that. But no, it's not. For instance, I have known all my entire adult life that I was carrying around too much weight. Well, at age 85, I joined Weight Watchers for the umpteenth time, and I got rid of the 80 pounds. So, thank you. My doc and my medical records were applauding, too. And the surprising thing is you don't realize how quickly your body's medical records will reflect it. It's even baby steps. What if you always wanted to do? Well, you can try it out in like maybe baby steps or in some form. Adapt that to whatever your abilities are now. Give your brain or your body something to think about, something new and exciting to do. Join some interesting groups, travel, Osher, take continuing ed classes, take such as Soul of Aging. As you get older, you will have more time because the kids are grown, usually. And this is the time that you've got to take a deep look inside and outside. Talk to yourself about what you like and what you might like to change. Then really listen to what you're telling yourself. Were you reminded of something you liked to do as a kid? Write it down. Do you know what brings you joy? Write it down. Yes, you do know it because you just told it to yourself, but those stories make wonderful stories for your kids and your grandkids. And maybe it'll lead to some books, and it might even lead to a novel or a movie script, if they're still on strike. So read books. Listen to books on Audible. One of my kids listens in her car when she drives to work every morning. Then listen to podcasts. then make your own podcast. Follow up on any interests and take them just a little step farther. That includes your mind as well as your body. Walk everywhere if you're able. Join a gym. They'll help you learn the equipment. Probably 50% of the people in the gym between the hours of 8 and 5 are seniors. They're retired seniors. And believe me, they don't care how you look in exercise clothes. Keep making new friends. Don't stop making new friends. Make new friends all the time. Your friends sustain you, they support you, run errands for you, cheer you up, they cheer you on, they lift you up. Nearly 100% of my friends have come from Booth. And it mostly is because we were in RE and we all had kids that were the same age. And thanks to Mary Schwartzman for starting a real RE program at Booth. And I have met the other friends mostly through being with Booth friends, and they've introduced me to other people. So it's interesting. You might want to take a look and see how many of your friends are Boofers or a result of knowing some of us. So I recall when, in taking classes, you make new friends when you take classes, even wherever. I recall when Soul of Aging was first offered here as a continuing ed class several years ago. Well, in fact, it was the first class, and it was before COVID. And then COVID came in and fouled everything up on top of everything else. So we not only were aging, but we didn't want to die either. So quite a few of my friends and Boofers had already signed up, so I knew a lot of the people. But when we would discuss an aging topic, instead of breaking up into a group of people, we would break up into groups of 2. So by the time you had taken that topic and had gone into it more deeply and more carefully, boy, you knew someone so much better than you would ever have known them from taking a cup of coffee in the break room. You really knew some personal and fascinating things about people. And what I found was that I always chose somebody I didn't know. And I made 2 new friends in that class that I loved. We were all dreading the day that we were going to discuss forgiving. That was the topic. And I guess all of us were carrying some people that we just could never forgive. But after I had my breakout session and discussed it, and after the class, I decided I would call somebody from my past that had once been a good friend, who then became a person I could never forgive because of this dreadful thing. And the very next day, that was 30 years before, but I've been carrying that grudge all that time. She said, I called my friend and I said what I wanted to do, and she said, oh, come over. She said, I have wanted to call you for 30 years. There isn't a day I haven't thought about that and regretted it, but she said, I didn't know how you'd take it if you were amenable to it. So I did. You can guess what happened. I went over and we renewed our friendship, and we've stayed friends, best friends since then. So that really changed my life for the better. I've been lucky to get good genes, obviously. My mother was in her 90s, my grandmother was in her 90s, so I've got good genes, I guess, but You can't do anything about that. But if you quit assuming that it's too late to do something, continuing to study about yourself, do a lot of deep contemplation about yourself and get to know yourself. Keep making new friends. I advise 10 years younger than you are. And that has served me very well. So thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. 90 years worth of wisdom, invaluable. Our next speaker is Ahley Newman. Ahley grew up in a family of professional singers, so he comes by his deep love of music naturally. Early in life, he switched directions from the arts to health care. He has a master's degree in public health and another master's in social worker, clearly an overachiever. For the last 15 years, he has focused on working in hospice. He spends as much outdoor time as possible. Nature is his church. Ahley loves hanging out with his partner and daughter, and he finds that music is what gets him through the ups and downs of aging. Ahley.
Good morning. Barb, I was going through a checklist in my head as you were talking, going, yes, no, yes, no. So thank you for all of the things that you suggested you should be doing about this time in life. I think for me, the best part of the Soul of Aging class was actually its title. It reminded me of advice that I was given when I first started working in hospice many years ago. That advice was, be a soul, not a role. Seeing aging as a soul journey has been helpful to me. In my early years, I saw aging, like many people still do, as kind of an external gig full of medical issues, maybe some cruise ships and a lot of bingo, and a strong dose of general decline. These days, I find aging to truly be an inside job into who I am or who I thought I was. There is a quote from one of the Soul of Aging handouts that has stuck with me in all these years. In an article by Parker Palmer titled Living a Fierce Reality, he said, I can't think of a sadder way to die than with the knowledge that I never showed up in this world as who I really am. I can't think of a more graceful way to die than with the knowledge that, as best I knew how, I showed up here as my true self, able to engage in the world in freedom and love because I had become fierce with reality. Coming out as gay in life truly has been an inside job for me, that soul journey. And there is a bittersweetness to that, knowing how much I hid from myself and others early in life. But there has also been a saving grace from coming out late, as they say. A good friend of mine recently told me, to paraphrase, I like this version of you, Ahley. You seemed a little formal before, but now you seem more comfortable with yourself. And I know that to be true. I am silly more often, flamboyant in my own way, and I've come to find that the ability to laugh and cry at the same time is truly a wonderful thing. When I worked in hospice, I interacted with lots of people. And one of those people is still with me 10 years after she died. Her name was Sharon, and she was living in a skilled nursing facility when I first met her. Sharon had virtually nothing left in this world. No money, no possessions, and just a few worn-out, haggard clothes that she had in a small closet in her room. She had outlived her entire family, and her friends were the people who lived and worked in this facility. For the last year of her life, I visited Sharon every week, and towards the end, almost every day. She had arranged her lounge chair so it faced the open door into her room, and from that place, excuse me, from that place, she could literally watch the world walk by. She saw the other residents, the facility staff, the visitors, the florists bringing beautiful flowers to people. But most of the time, Sharon was simply asleep in her chair when I arrived. And so I would tiptoe into her room very slowly and quietly, thinking, I won't even wake her. I'll just sit down next to her and she won't notice I'm here. But it never worked. Her eyes were closed, but she knew I was there. And she would always say, Ahley, it's you. I am so glad you're here. Come, sit with me, and tell me about your day. Despite having lost everything in her life, Sharon shined from the inside out. There was always a twinkle in her eyes, and she literally glowed when I came into the room. And I was drawn to that glow like a moth to a flame. She was the embodiment of being a soul in life, not a role. Inside of Sharon, there was a beauty and a grace which has stuck with me all these years. To me, she embodied the soul of aging. Perhaps David Bowie best described what this soul journey is all about when he said, aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you should have always been. May that be so for others in their own journey as it has been for me.
Thank you. We're going to move into our time of joys and sorrows. Each week we take time to acknowledge the many joys and sorrows among us so that we might share the joy and be present to the sorrow. A reminder that you can submit your joys and sorrows online each week via the link in our worship email and on our website. Our virtual community continues to share joys and sorrows in the chat. We combine all the collective joys and sorrows every month and share them in a community-wide email. It's through our sharing with one another that we forge deep bonds of community and connection. We have these joys from Mikey Mattis. Mikey would like to express sorrow for having to leave Boise Little Theater. Ending generational poverty as a Head Start teacher, he had to meet the challenge of advocacy as a lifelong learner by building himself out of poverty in order to effectively help families in Ada County do the same. For him, there is joy in clarity of sobriety that led to the realization that empowerment isn't only for others. He gracefully celebrates spiritual intentionality and the importance of community. Linda Barlow says, my multi-technique crochet Afghan in the senior division won first place at the Greater Western Idaho State Fair. Jeff and Julia Pope celebrated their 18th wedding anniversary on August 19th. Jonathan and Kendra Dover are happy to share with the community that Kendra should now soon be entering labor, not quite as early as they thought maybe. And so they hope to share the news of the new baby soon. And from Diana Barlow Lowe, as I looked around the room at my wonderful 80th birthday bash, I saw so many of you, and it filled my heart with happiness. The other joyous thing was that all my children and grandchildren and brother and his family and a long-lost cousin joined me on this very awesome day. 16 family members in one place. It was glorious. If you're holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud into this community of love, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all of our joys and sorrows, all those named and all those that remain silent, close to our hearts. Again, breathe with me. Fill your body with breath. Breathe into this sacred space. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence.
Good morning. Grow Old With Me is a song that is often sung at weddings and anniversaries, and on a very personal level. I sing this today for David. On a broader level, I've adapted a few of the words because love is love is love. And whether your beloveds are children, pets, neighbors, friends, people in this community, this is a blessing for all of us growing old together.
Grow old along with me. The best is yet to be. When our time has come, we will be as one. God bless our love. God bless our love. Grow old along with me. The branches of one tree face the setting sun. When the day is done, God bless our love. God bless our love. Spending our lives together, you and world without end. Grow old along with me, whatever fate decrees, we will see it through, for our love is true. God bless our love. God bless our love. God bless our love.
Our next speaker is Diane Dorius. She's the mother of 2, grandmother of 7, a retired lawyer, and a dancer, singer, and justice-seeking UU atheist. Diane.
Why am I wearing a tiara? Well, it was a gift from my daughters on my 80th birthday last year, and I embraced it enthusiastically. For my birthday week, I wore it to the grocery store, out to dinner, and sitting around the house. It attracted many smiles and happy birthdays from strangers. I wasn't shy about using that tiara to announce, here I am. Yes, I'm officially old, but I'm happy to be here and my heart is filled with gratitude. I guess you can tell I'm an extrovert. Aging brought me to Idaho 3 years ago. I was a widow, living contentedly in Virginia with a full life of friends, season tickets to theaters, choir rehearsals, singing lessons, performing in modern dance groups, doing anti-racism training, and visiting my daughters in New Hampshire and Idaho. When COVID hit and 3 friends died, not from COVID, but from other causes, I watched their families struggle to care for them from afar. I didn't want to put that stress on my family in the future when my health would inevitably fail. So I chose Boise's winters over Hanover, New Hampshire's. Having known the Philleys from our years in Virginia, I was immediately connected to Booth. When Mike and Patricia offered the Soul of Aging class, I was ready to explore more deeply what my aging process could look like and what I should pay attention during this, the last stage of my life. I'm extremely grateful for Patricia and Mike. Their empathetic and patient guidance and their willingness to share, as all participants in the group did, gave me great insights relating to probing complex topics about aging and dying. The class included journaling about our current and future lives. One of my journal entries began with, I realized that my own death or illness could come at any moment. I am fortunate to have excellent health and have never had a life-threatening illness. But at my age, that statement is my reality, and it has influenced my life for a long time. As a young college student, I explored the principles of existentialism that grew out of World War II and the pervading anxiety about the futility of life, where death could take everything away at a second of arbitrary violence, accident, or illness. Ironically, the awareness of that arbitrariness inspired me then to try to treasure every moment of my life, be it a glorious sunset, an achingly beautiful piece of music, or a supportive hug from a friend. Of course, when I was a single mother with 2 little girls, little money, studying past midnight, intent on getting my law degree, I was often too rushed and harried to stop, to take a breath, appreciate the treasures of life, and be grateful. Thankfully, one of the gifts of my aging is the ability to do just that. My heart now is more filled with gratitude than any other time of my life. Recently, close to sunset, walking my Labrador Retriever, Ellie, past a field of abandoned farmland, I saw a flock of wild turkeys. I stopped, took some deep breaths, and counted 6, 10, no, 14 birds bobbing their heads in the tall grass. I felt it was a moment of awe. A few days ago, I watched my 2 grandsons on the same high school soccer team playing valiantly against a team rated a level above theirs. They would not give up. Jackson, 17, played offense as the striker, weaving back and forth between defenders and taking the most shots on goal of any player in the game. The younger one, Colton, 15 and a half, was on defense, protecting the goalie and kicking the attacker's balls way off to the side and out of danger. Even though they were disappointed that they didn't win, their tenacity and skills were beautiful, and they kept the higher-rated team to a tie score. Another treasured moment of gratitude occurred this summer at 2 a.m. in the morning. While I drove to North Carolina, to the beaches of North Carolina with my 20-year-old granddaughter, Sloan, out of the blue, she asked me, "Grandma, do old people have sex?" While I won't share the details of the extended conversation that followed that very sincere question, I can describe the joy I experienced in realizing how deeply my granddaughter loved and trusted me to give her an honest and heartfelt answer. I'm also grateful to have lived long enough to have a reality-based answer to give her. But getting back to aging and the inevitable end, death. One gift as aging as a Unitarian Universalist, for me, is that I'm not worried about what will happen to my soul on the other side. As I wrote in my journal, to me, dying is simply the end of living, an experience every living being must go through. I believe if the soul is anything, it is the essence of one's living being, and it will not exist independently after death. It is what each of us creates by ourselves during our lifetimes through our own choices and actions in response to the experiences and people we've met along the way. The essence of my living being has been to try, and I emphasize try, to incorporate love and compassion in all of my decisions and my actions. In my careers as a high school English teacher and a lawyer developing policies and laws designed to assure a decent home and living environment for every person, raising 2 daughters with patience, sometimes tried, encouragement, and intense love, volunteering to organize a temporary homeless shelter, to teach anti-racism classes, and to raise money for humanitarian efforts, being a loving and supportive sister and friend, and lifting up the resilience and creativity of the human spirit through dancing, acting, and singing. Just before he died, my husband Andy was able to tell his children and me the following: I have lived a long and happy life. I am at peace, and I'm not afraid. We were very grateful for this last gift. It's my hope that at the end of my life, my last words will be very similar to his, with one addition. And I love you with all my heart. May it be so.
Thank you. Our last speaker, Mike Philley, was a Peace Corps teacher in Malaysian Borneo, and he had a 25-year career in U.S. aid foreign service. He has led Booth's adult education program, taught environmental studies at BSU, mentored refugee families, and taught ESL to immigrants. He is an intrepid traveler, a haiku poet, a loyal friend, supportive husband, and proud father of a daughter and son. Mike.
Thank you, Patricia. Good morning, everyone. This universe is much too big to hold on to, but it is the perfect size for letting go. Let me repeat that. This universe is much too big to hold on to, but it is the perfect size for letting go. This is one of my favorite quotes from the Buddhist tradition. Like many spiritual insights, it's veiled in paradox, but at the same time, it illuminates a profound truth. We love to hold on to the myriad things that serve our ego, things that fortify the identity we've constructed for ourselves from childhood on. I'll admit that my ego still struts a bit when I let it be known that I was a fleet-footed outfielder during my baseball-obsessed youth in Rockford, Illinois, that I was Explorer Scout of the Year back in 1961, that I worked as a ranger naturalist at Glacier National Park, where I met Sue, my wife, that I served with the Peace Corps in Malaysian Borneo, that I had a 25-year career in the Foreign Service, that I can still speak Malay and Indonesian. I even get a perverse sense of achievement when I tell people that I'm a 10-year survivor of metastatic prostate cancer. These facts are part of my life history, but as I age, they don't have the gravitas they once did. I'm only a few months shy of becoming an octogenarian. I've noticed the loosening of my attachments to once cherished possessions long ago accomplishments, formerly robust physical and mental capacities, long-standing resentments that have proven to be toxic to my peace of mind, tired relationships that no longer carry meaning and promise, and certainly the youthful illusion that I will somehow live forever. My prostate cancer diagnosis was a wake-up call, a roller coaster of surgery, radiation treatment, hormone therapy, fatigue, anxiety, depression. Looking back, I realize how fortunate I was during that difficult time to be part of the leadership team for Boof's new 18-month adult curriculum, Quest, A Spiritual Journey. Quest was just what the doctor ordered, so to speak, to help me stretch beyond the tidal pull of my ego and explore the deeper currents of my soul. Within a tight-knit, respectful community of other spiritual seekers, I became more aware of what I want to let go of and what I want to give myself to. In short, what really matters. Serving as a spiritual companion during 3 iterations of Quest, I embraced aging more and more as a spiritual practice. When the coronavirus pandemic led to many of us becoming cloistered like monastics, suddenly cut off from the external world of activity and its distractions, I, seasoned introvert that I am, found a sense of ease in being left alone with my musings. Living close to Boof's outdoor sanctuary, I started making walking pilgrimages to the stone labyrinth and meditation garden. On one such visit, while meditating where a border of large rocks encloses a little pond, I felt summoned to build a cairn of stones. Nearby was a shallow excavation just off the north parking lot at that time, where all sizes of Boise River rocks had been exposed. Imagining the eons of flooding that had carried the rocks to their birth, I selected the stones that called to me. Larger and heavier at first, gradually smaller and lighter, and carried 10 stones to a flat spot by the little pond. Building the cairn was a way of seeking equanimity in uncertain times. The coronavirus and my cancer faded into a sense of spaciousness, beyond fear, beyond egoistic concerns. The spaciousness arose from the exquisite act of balancing each stone, one after another, then letting go. With each added stone, the balancing and the letting go became symbolic of how I want the rest of my life to unfold. Simply put, I want to be fully present, kind and compassionate, grateful for my life. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with early-stage Parkinson's disease. After 4 months of denial, I'm accepting that this malady is real and will progress to later stages as I age into my 80s. I'm grateful that I have a solid support network of family and friends. Boof, of course, figures prominently in my outlook. Patricia Heeb and I are planning to co-lead another The Soul of Aging class next spring. This will be the 4th time we've offered this 10-session adult curriculum developed by the Center for Courage and Renewal. We look forward once again to being with participants in a safe and intimate circle of trust, sharing our personal experiences of growing older. The inevitable losses and diminishments for sure, but also appreciating the life we have, courting wisdom, nurturing friendships, becoming radiant and soulful elders. It's a practice.
Thank you very much. We have inadvertently introduced you all to one of the other facets of aging, and that is a sort of distortion of time. So I apologize. If you need to leave, feel free. We just have a prayer and a closing. So let's start with the prayer. We opened the service with a light-sided look at aging, and we invite you now to join in this light-sided prayer, attributed to a 17th century nun. Though I feel I could have written it myself, actually. So let us pray. Lord, thou knowest better than I myself that I am growing older and someday will be old. Keep me from the fatal habit of thinking that I must say something on every subject and on every occasion. Release me from the craving to straighten out everybody's affairs. Make me thoughtful, but not moody, helpful, but not bossy. With my vast store of wisdom, it seems a pity not to use it all, but thou knowest, Lord, that I do want a few friends at the end. Seal my lips and my aches and pains. They are increasing, and rehearsing them is becoming sweeter as the years go by. I dare not ask for improved memory, but for growing humility and a lessening cocksureness when my memory seems to clash with the memories of others. Teach me the glorious lesson that occasionally I may be mistaken. Keep me reasonably sweet. I do not want to be a saint, but a sour old person is one of the crowning glories of the devil. And give me the ability to see the good things in unexpected places and talent in unexpected people. And give me, O Lord, the grace to tell them so. May it be so. Amen. Right, stand, please. you were old, right? We will forego the blessing. Blessings to you all. Thank you. Go in peace.